almost maple syrup season again. I'm so excited. This is going to be my second season tapping trees. I think we're going to be tapping them on Monday because it looks like we're going to start having the right temperatures right on Monday and then all through next week and hopefully for the foreseeable future. I just wanted to run through a few of the favorite things that really helped me with my first tree tapping season last year, so that if you're interested in trying it this year, or maybe you just need a refresher, you'll know what works for me and maybe it'll work for you. The first thing I'm going to recommend is this book. You can't see it right because it's backwards for you, but this is Sweet Maple by Michelle Visser. This had literally all of the information and more that I needed to get set up, get it done, get my syrup boiled down, storing recipes, everything. Get this book, it will help. Now you might be thinking, I don't have any maple trees, I can't make syrup. Don't worry, there are over 30 types of trees that you can use to tap and get syrup from. Maple, specifically sugar maple, has the highest concentration of sugar in the sap to begin with, so that's why it's used the most, because it's less work to get your final product. This book, as I mentioned, has a great list of all the different types of trees, all the different maples. There are lots. Maple, box elder, birch, walnut, sycamore, hickory. Like, there are a lot of different trees you can tap. So if you don't have maple, don't worry, either get this book or just Google what trees can you tap to make syrup. The next thing you're going to want to do is purchase your materials that you need for tapping. Of course, you're going to need a drill and a drill bit. I can't quite remember the sizes, so I'll make sure to put a little information box in here for you. But I get my materials from Amazon. I found that it's cheaper than picking up tree tapping supplies from a local feed store. So I just get kits. This is the easiest and, like I said, cheapest. I have an Amazon shopping list with all of these things that I use. I'll make sure to link it, so if you want to check any of these out specifically, you can. I like to just buy these kits because they have everything. It's got the tubing. The blue tubing is best. I do have some clear tubing that I've used as well, but this just protects it from UV rays and bacteria from growing a little bit more. So this kit comes with tubing, the taps or spiles, and a few filters. I did go ahead this year and I bought even more filters, and this kit comes with some heavier duty filters in it. Now the heavier duty filters are important because you'll get what's called sugar sand in the bottom of your syrup if it's not filtered properly. And even though I was filtering mine through I think 2 or 3 different filters last year, they just weren't high enough quality to get all of that out. So you can see a layer of it on the bottom. It's not dangerous at all. It just doesn't look very appealing. And this is what that sugar sand looks like. It's just a little bit of sediment on the bottom. It'll move, let's see. See, it's not solid, it's not crystallized, it's just sugar sand. Won't hurt you, it just doesn't look nice, so this is where some better filters will really come in handy. Then you're gonna need some food safe buckets, preferably with lids to keep bugs, debris, critters like squirrels from getting into your sap while it's sitting outside. I got mine from the local Home Depot. I do have some listed in the Amazon cart. I would not purchase them from there because they're really expensive online, but I just get 5-gallon food safe buckets. And then for when you get it in the house, obviously you're gonna need a big old pot or multiple big old pots for boiling this down. More than one, depending on how many trees you're tapping, is probably a good idea. This worked for me, and I ended up with about 3 gallons total last year, but I might need to upsize it a little. Now, when it comes to boiling your sap and turning it into syrup, you can keep it simple and just get it to the consistency you want and put it in the freezer. But if you're wanting this to be a shelf-stable product, you're gonna need to be a little more scientific with it. So at that point, you get a hydrometer and you will pour your sap in here as it's boiling down. And this just helps measure the sugar levels in it. See, it's got these lines. This is where you want it to be floating. It'll float depending on, you know, how heavy the syrup is with the sugar. If there's not enough sugar in your syrup, it will not be shelf stable. It could grow mold on it, so you would need to freeze it. If it's too much, it will just turn into like solid crystals. If that happens, don't fear. I did have a few batches that I overboiled a little bit. I just took sap that I had left, or you could use water if you didn't have any sap, and mix boiling water into the container and dump it out and keep going. And then you just have to boil it back down a little bit. So it's not the end of the world if you overboil it. It just is going to take you longer to fix it. Another great product that you're going to need if you're really worried about shelf stability is a thermometer. This is a laser thermometer. This works really well because you're not having to stick your hands in it, and you can tell with this big crazy pot what the temperature's at, because you do need to get it at a specific temperature. Also, a candy thermometer would be a great addition. I didn't have one last year, and I could have really used it when I was turning the maple syrup into maple sugar and maple cream. So I think this year I'm gonna go ahead and buy one. Now at the end, you're gonna need somewhere to store your final product. You could use glass containers that are airtight that you've saved. I've just went ahead and I bought mine from online. These ones, this is a 12 ounce and this is an 8 ounce. I love having multiple sizes. The little ones are really good for gifting, and it's just nice to keep them on hand. I think they're cute. I do have some in old jelly jars. It just depends on your personal preference. If you don't want to pay for something, use something that you have on hand. Anyway, I am really excited to get out there and tap some trees this year. Hopefully I'll be tapping more. Hopefully I end up with more than 3 gallons. We'll see. We have some things in the work that might be happening at the same time and might screw up my sugar season a little bit. So keep your fingers crossed for me. If you have any questions about the process, I will make sure to also link my whole video series from last year. I got a whole playlist of it on everything that I was doing with the tree tapping, so you can see it for yourself. And again, if there's any questions, just leave a comment and I will try to answer it to the best of my knowledge. Otherwise, like I said, that book, wherever I put it, Sweet Maple by Michelle Visser, is an amazing resource and can tell you everything that you need to know.